Hey there, it's Jimmy Hapa from Import Gaming for the win. Thanks for checking out the video. I'm a huge fan of Konami's Ganbare Goemon, and it's the video game series I collect the most for. So here I figured, why not share the love? Let's take a look at all of the Goemon memorabilia I've picked up over the years, including toys, music, movies, comics, guides, and more. We'll start with a display case that houses the majority of my collectibles, and then check out some of the things that are too big to fit, as well as some odds and ends. There's a lot of stuff to go through, so I'll try to keep the talking to a minimum and not waste your time. Also, I've already done a video looking at all of the games, so if you want to take a closer look at those, please watch that since this video is all about Goemon memorabilia. If you're a fan of the mystical ninja, you should like what you see, but either way, I hope you enjoy. Alright, so here's the top shelf of my Goemon collection, and the first thing you'll probably notice are these little Goemon characters Softby or soft vinyl keychains. Go ahead and grab Goemon over here. These are actually pretty rare, pretty hard to find. When you do find them, some people are crazy and they'll pay over $100 for one, depending on the character. It has Ganbare Goemon 2 artwork. It's from Hobby Made, by the way. And some kind of, I think, Ganbare Goemon 4 Super Famicom artwork on the back. So I don't know exactly when they were made, but I'm going to guess mid to late 90s. Like I said, they're very rare. And for a while, these were kind of like the holy grail of Goemon toy type of things. Something topped it recently, but we'll look at that a little bit later. It's Ebisumaru, the pudgy little partner of Goemon. Yai, I think Yai is probably the most sought after one, with her sword. And yeah, the Sasuke. I did not pay anywhere near $100 for any one of these things, and actually I was able to find very good deals on these. But they're very cool. I like them. Just take a look right over here. A Ganbare Goemon Yo-Yo. This is of Ebisumaru, and I think there are probably the four main characters in the series, and you'd get one of these in a kind of a Japanese candy box, and I have the instructions down below. We'll take a look at that later, but little kind of like pellet Nabune candies, but you'd get a yo-yo. So it's pretty cool. It works just fine. Let's take a look at these. Some promotional, I guess, pin badges. And these were for, I don't know, Ganbare Goemon, just kind of generic logo on the top. These were some kind of promotion, I'm sure. Actually, never mind, 350 yen. So you could probably buy these at a store somewhere. Featuring artwork from the N64 game. Here's just an eraser and a little miniature Edo Castle. A Daruma eraser because I figured it adds to the flair of Ganbare Goemon. Here's a tin, kind of a can container, and we'll take a look at the back too, featuring artwork from Karakuri Dochu, the first Goemon game. If you open it up, it had an attachment on it, but fortunately it's all corroded and it ripped right off. Love that little Goemon over there. And it's about the size of a cartridge, so I put an extra copy of Ganbare Goemon 2 in it. And let's see if I can open this up, take it out. And you can see over here it says Kids Club, Pakkan Boy. And I'm gonna guess that this was probably some sort of prize that people would get. A lot of the Konami games had these scratch cards, and I'm gonna assume that this was one of the prizes you'd get, or if you're a part of some sort of Konami Kids Club, some sort of thing you'd probably get in the mail. Either way, very cool and very hard to find. I've only seen it once, and when I saw it, I picked it up. And over here you can just kind of see all the games I have. PlayStation games, DS games, Famicom, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, etc, etc. These are all kind of featured in that video I've done about all the Goemon games, except I did get a few variant covers, just kind of with different prices, best of. I'm not going to really open up anything here, but nothing new to really talk about. Anyways, we'll go to the next shelf. So not really much to talk about on this shelf. As you can see in the background, there are MSX game, N64 games, my childhood copies of my Goemon games, Famicom RPGs, Super Famicom, PS2, and then the LCD game over here. The main things here are probably some of the ultimate Goemon kind of merchandise. These are 2019 Wonder Festival figurines that you can only buy at that festival from Manazal Laboratories. And so there's Sasuke over here. His hair is not attached to his head because it's just too big for the case, but I like it. It kind of makes him look like the Super Nintendo Mystical Ninja version. Goemon over here in the middle. I think that the hair is insane. Look how crazy. So yeah, these were, like I said, very hard to get because they were very limited. And people were selling them online. I didn't get to go. I was busy with work. But yeah, people were selling them online, and they're still going now, I think, for crazy prices. I got them right when they started being scalped, I guess. So I didn't pay much more than I would have if I had actually gone myself. But yeah, these are, I don't know, some people might pay $300 for one of these things, which is crazy. There's Ebisumaru. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of blue on him because he did fall down and break apart in the box once. But I fixed them up as best I could. And then the other things here are these, you can kind of just look at them here. These clear acrylic figurines, these are more recent. Here's Yaya here. These are Ganbare Goemon 3 models. And they were just little figurines you'd get in a crank-up machine. I think it's probably about 300 yen a pop. And these were sold originally at like a Konami pop-up store. And then later on probably at like places like Indoor, in Akihabara, whatever, didn't get sold. But pretty cool, and I love the idea, acrylic figures. They look nice if they're pixels for sure. Next, going down one more. Alright, so down here you can see we have a lot of random little things here. I guess I'll just grab this guy first. It's not an official Konami product, but something that kind of took advantage of the popularity of Ganbare Goemon in the 80s. It's a little figurine that makes noise, and fortunately, it doesn't really quite work as well as it used to, but I think it's pretty cool, pretty cute. Also hard to find. Here are some telephone cards. So there's 3 of them up here. I'll pull this one right out so you can take a look. This is just the Ganbare Goemon generic phone card. But yeah, these things are usually given away as promotional items, and they allow you to talk using public phones. And I think there's about, what, 800 yen, probably 600, 800 yen worth in each of these. And I remember back when I was young, actually having to use phone cards. I would probably not ever use one of these though. So yeah, some phone cards. And these are probably too small for the camera to pick up on, but if doesn't focus, yeah, it doesn't focus, but this is a lapel pin of, this is actually Ganbare Goemon Neomomuyama, was it Makufu no Odori, or the Legend of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon in 64 game. And it's this little lapel pin, probably a promotional item. This one is Ganbare Goemon 2 for the Famicom, and this is actually a more recent kind of like product that was put out a couple years ago, maybe by Indoor. And just a kind of a generic Goemon lapel pin right here. So yeah, these are, fortunately, won't be picked up very well with the autofocus, so I'll just zoom in later. Ganbare Goemon eraser. So there you go. And to kind of go with that theme, you can see here some Ganbare Goemon pencils with little Goemon designs on them. And this is from Tombow, which they do a lot of the Japanese pencils here, made in Japan. This was 600 yen, so it's about $6 when it was originally released. And I have some more pencils and stuff you'll see later. And here's a bunch of loose ones. So, oh, some other junk. Let's just take a look at these. So you can see different kind of designs here. B softness or hardness. Some of them have like all the crew on them. They're pretty cool. So that mug that I pulled that out of has a few things in here. We'll take a look at something later. These are just eraser figurines. We'll take a look at some of those later. This was a promotional item. This and that plate over here were promotional items from. Actually, let me pull these out. Take a look at the bottom. These pencil caps. This is from Yamasa, and then for their product Konbutsuyu, which is, well, I guess kelp-based kind of a sauce for your noodles. Very delicious, actually. And so there was a promotion back then where you could get 2 plates and 2 mugs, and yeah, from basically a sauce company, which is kind of interesting. Let me toss this over here. I just have this kind of random Hanya mask over here because, well, it's a pretty big part of Goemon. I'll grab this here. Here is an advertisement, a pamphlet for the infamous Ganbare Goemon Patchy slot, the slot machine. Let me just take a look at this real quick. Hopefully it focuses in fine. I mean, it does look nice, and you know, there's been a few opportunities that I've had and have missed completely. Trying to acquire one of these machines. There were 2 patchy slot machines released for Ganbare Goemon. I would love to own them, but I would like to actually see more games in the series, obviously. And here's that yo-yo kind of instruction manual I was talking about earlier. So that Ebisumaru yo-yo is a little manual you get, and I just thought it was really great because they have little Goemon character illustrations on how to use your yo-yo. Very, very nice. And this is a nice little thing here. This is, let me pull this out and I have a little stand for it. This is probably one of the most sought after Ganbare Goemon goods. Put this on the floor. This is the Working Designs E3, I think 2000 booth doll. There's a promotional item. Let's see, you've got the little tag here. I don't know if you can see that okay. But yeah, 1986 and 2000 Konami, licensed by Working Designs. So yeah, these were just the Goemon PS2 game that was supposed to be localized and was denied. And so this little plush here was something that Working Designs was giving out. I'm not sure if they were selling or giving it out, but like I said, yeah, very hard to find. I was very lucky to find a seller in Japan who had this. And I don't know, maybe people thought this was a bootleg or something, but I got it for very cheap. I think the original asking price was $1,000, which is crazy. This is a chirashi, or like a little leaflet for the original Ganbare Goemon for Famicom. I love this little character here. I used to have a frame for this, but it's a little bit too clunky to put in this display, so I'll have to try to find another one. But look at that. Little free advertisement you'd pick up at stores. And you know what's funny? They still have these in Japan, but they're so few and far between, and they're usually for games I'm really not interested in, so this would have been a really fun hobby. I have a whole collection of like old game leaflets that most of them I bought, but back then it would have been a cool free hobby just to kind of collect these things and put them in a binder. As you can see here, this is the Ganbare Goemon Legend of the Mystical Ninja vinyl soundtrack. I got this pretty recently from a website called Fangamer, and I think Ship to Shore Media is the... yeah, there you go. Right here, Ship to Shore Media. Gotta love the package design. See, in Japan, we rarely get any sort of like cool record collectibles. That's all stuff in the States, I guess, for the hipsters and all that, but this was something I knew I had to get. I'll just pull out one. Well, I'll pull this out too. I think I just showed this in a pickups video last year, but yeah, very nice. I think the other one's blue. This record's red. One of my favorite soundtracks of all time, and it's good to have that. Bought a record player to play it, but the record player is kind of... it's not very reliable. This is a leisure sheet, basically a picnic mat. Ganbare Goemon, as you can see. There's Sasuke, there's Goemon, any Ebisumarus, yep, Ebisumaru, and a really creepy looking Yae. So this is probably not really her official look. This is some sort of prototype. I think Kurunada Koi had this weird looking Yae as well, but yeah, if you ever wanted to go on a picnic with me, we could bust out this leisure sheet. This is not even the only leisure sheet I own for Ganbare Goemon, so I'm not sure about the origins of it, but I imagine promotional item. And then the last thing is this big booklet here, which is the Konami new game. I got this because this really cool picture of Ganbare Goemon 2. But you got Ninja Turtles, you got Twinbee, and a whole bunch of other different things in here. Check out that, ooh, accessories. I think this was something you could pick up at Nintendo. Is it a Nintendo World Festival? Some kind of Nintendo convention. But really nice, really good print job, but I got it really for this Ganbare Goemon 2 and some kind of rare artwork you don't really see for the series too often. But yeah, old General McGinnis. And here we have a small assortment of just random trinkets, but in the back you can kind of see that there is the board game, the Ganbare Goemon board game, Karakuri Dochu. That's something I showed in that video with all the games, so if you want to look at the details of that, take a look at that video, because I'm not going to pull it out and take a look at it here. But you see all these little kind of eraser figurines. These are, I think, from the Ganbare Goemon anime, and these are from just the Karakuri Dochu. I don't have nearly as many as I should, because there are tons of them, but that's what I got. These are keychains here, and I guess I'll probably just zoom in a different kind of film, but from Nagasakiya, which is a large Japanese grocery chain, and I guess maybe like a department store maybe. They don't have any in my area, but they were apparently had some sort of Goemon figurine tie-in. Some of these are a little different from the others because take a look at this Ibisumaru here. Hopefully it zooms in, holding onto his ball, perfectly fine. But this one has a little bit of a different paint job, color, and the back is completely unpainted. So I have a few of those, and I don't know whether it was maybe it was sold in a different kind of like a means, like maybe in a crank machine or something. Maybe it was given away. Who knows? Over here, you can see that I have a Super Ball, and I believe this was a prize that you could win at like a festival. This is also for Neo Momoyama Bakufu no Odori, and yeah, I think it was just a kind of a prize for like festivals. It's resting here on this Edo era coin. I'm gonna go ahead and put this aside. And the thing in the back, behind that, is a Takara toy called Sugegoma, and this is the Goemon figure. If you ever find one of these, usually one of the legs are kind of popped out. When I bought this, it was completely intact, but it seems like this left leg or right leg always pops out. And anyway, this is a kind of like a battle arena top game, so you can see that black thing on the bottom. That's a top, and you would fight your friends, other Sugegomas. I guess you can see in the back like that. Yeah, kind of just like a simple battle top game. And they had like different characters from like Bomberman was probably the biggest one. Almost like Beataman, that was a big series of like Takara toys. I believe it was Takara. But yeah, Takara and Konami had a working partnership with making toys, and that's why we have that Dream Mix TV Fighters or Dream Fighters Mix. I can't remember the name, but that fighting game with Hudson, Konami, and Takara toy characters. Alright, let's look down at the next row. So here we have a few music CDs and some adventure books, etc., etc. Just real quick, let's pull this out. This is the pins I showed earlier, just one that's complete in the package. Pins Geek from Indoor. And so these retail for 800 yen. I had to get two because, yeah, I wanted to open one and keep one sealed. Let's put this too. Over here is a Kiseru, a Japanese smoking pipe. Not quite as large or as powerful as the one Goemon would use, but I bought this in, I think it was Hakone, with my friend, when I went with my friend Avalanche Jared and his wife, Josine, and their friends. Got one of these for a friend for his wedding, actually. I had to pick one for myself up, too, just for this display. And this is just kind of a Goemon handkerchief. We'll look at another one later. These are some random pieces that I have, extra pieces for that board game. As you can see, these Goemons are a little strange looking, but they're kind of cool. I like them. Here's another phone card. This is for the Goemon anime, and you can see there's holes on the side. This is a completely used up phone card. Never watched the Goemon anime. I'm not really interested. I have them. We'll take a look at those in a second, but people tell me it's actually pretty good. The animation doesn't look that great, but I'll have to give it a watch someday. Or else I'm not a true fan, I guess. Here is a sticker, just a big old sticker that I got from a Konami pop-up store in Akihabara. I guess, what is it called? Some box or something like that. But yeah, this is Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki, or The Legend of the Mystical Ninja for Super Nintendo, Ganbare Goemon 1 for Super Nintendo, Super Famicom. Just a simple sticker, beautiful logo. And see if we can grab this without things falling down. There you go. More Goemon anime goods. The Konami card collection, a sealed trading card box. I have a few of these things that I've had packs that I opened up. But yeah, this is not a whole lot of cards in the set, but this is what you'd buy if you see this at a store if you were buying the cards. I don't know if I'm ever going to open it up, but I would like to have a whole collection someday. Alright, these are some Ganbare Goemon adventure books. Let's go ahead and grab them. They're all different. This is Karakuri Dochu's one. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure type thing. Really cool kind of illustrations. The pages are actually really clean on this one. But yeah, kind of cool like illustrations you wouldn't see anywhere else. Technically this would be official Konami art, right? So there's that one. Here's one for Goemon Gaiden. Kind of like some funky artwork. Not quite as clean pages, but same thing. Kind of really neat illustrations. Choose your own adventure. It looks like a Konyaku man. I don't know what that was all about. Let's see if I can find some nice illustration here. Okay, well that's neat enough. So there's that, and then this one is Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki. Oh my god. So, the Legend of the Mystical Ninja. And there you go. Look at that. Yeah, in how I guess bringing Goemon out of jail. Pretty cool. There's at least one other adventure game book that I know of that I don't have. It's got a really realistic looking Goemon on the cover. I think it's probably Ganbare Goemon 2 for Famicom. That one is really hard to find, and every time I do see it, it sells for quite a bit. These ones aren't too expensive usually. Maybe $10 a pop. Alright, so this is the Ganbare Goemon sound. Was it Tamate Bako? And I did a video on this already, so if you want to take a look at that, please do. Nobody did. But this was a limited box set that Egg Records released 3 or 4 years ago now. Just look at the cover art. I went through all of it in that video. So here's a little liner notes. It's kind of hard to do this, sorry. But yeah, if you were interested in taking a closer look at that, that video is there for you to watch. And this has all the kind of older Goemon game soundtracks up to like maybe Ganbare Goemon 4 for console stuff, and some of the handheld stuff. Okay, no N64 stuff, unfortunately. And so these are the rest of my game soundtracks. I guess complete soundtracks anyway. Here's Ganbare Goemon 2, and this is, well, it says it's a maxi single, so it's not really, there's not a whole lot of music in the CD, but pretty hard to find this one. There is a cassette version as well that I'm always trying to find, but I always lose it when I see it in auctions. And there's the liner notes. We'll just take a look at the liner notes and the obi, put that on the side. So this is a really great game. And oh, there you go. Gotta open it up like that. So kind of a boring liner notes, but good music. I think you could play the Start of the Journey song. Alright, and the next CD soundtrack I have is Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki. So, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, with that kind of first level and Shikoku level amusement park. One of the few cases where I think the US artwork is much better than the Japanese artwork. It's also pretty hard to find soundtrack. Goemon 2 will run people usually around $60-$70, maybe more now. This one kind of the same thing. It's gone down in price actually over the years. These soundtracks are much easier to find than the N64 ones, which I don't have. Those are $800 to $1,000 to $1,500 usually, which I just don't understand. Here's the first Patchy Slot soundtrack. Pretty good music. I mean, it's just a lot of the great Goemon music bastardized and put into a slot machine form. Nice little cover art here for the CD, advertising their other Abomination soundtracks. Let's take a look at the liner note. This one's a little dirty. I did buy this used, but you can still buy this new, I think, on Amazon for like $20. I would say go for it. It's good. It's good music. Here's the second soundtrack, which is based on Kiteretsu Shogun McGinnis, the second Ganbare Goemon Super Famicom game. I actually did buy this one new, so it's in much nicer shape. And then again, I think you'd buy it on Amazon still for $20 new. Obi. Cool looking package design. You know, I just wish that this was a soundtrack for an actual video game. But it is what it is. Yeah, look at that. Very nice. This looks like it's something from Square Enix. Okay, and the last big CD I have for Goemon is this anime soundtrack. There are actually 3, I believe, anime soundtracks. This is the first one. There's a volume 2, which is really expensive, and then it's another one that maybe it's additional songs. Pretty okay music, I guess. I only listened to it once, and well, it's not going to be quite as good as the games. It's not bad. Actually, it looks like it has nice animation there, but I've seen what it actually looks like. It's not that great. So the characters don't look too bad in this. This chick over here did the main theme. Konami had a lot of these projects where they had idols singing and stuff, but I don't know if that girl ever made it or not, but best of luck to her. And here are those pencil caps that I was kind of tossing around earlier. This one's completely brand new, and this would just be something you put on the top of your pencils when, you know, if you didn't want to stab yourself or stab something else as you sharpened it. So, kind of neat. I think a lot of these like pencil materials that I have are from the N64 era, so mid to late 90s. How much was this thing? 120 yen, so about $1. Oh, it just stopped focusing on me. All right, let's take a look at the last couple of rows and then some other stuff. Okay, so what we have here are a few books and a few other kind of trinkets. Real quick, this is a sticker of Kurobe cat. This was something that came with a t-shirt that I bought recently. I'll show that later too. And here are the rest of my CDs. These are single CDs, little mini CD discs. First one is the 5th anniversary Ganbare Goemon. Let's take a look at the back. These only contain like 4 tracks each, I think, or something like that. And teaches you how to do this Goemon dance. This was featured heavily in commercials, and yeah, this would have been 91 maybe. I'll put that up here. And here's the theme for Ganbare Goemon, the N64 game anyways. Great music here. It has the impact theme as well, and that funky looking impact. And pop this open, take a look at it. That's that. And these are really hard to find. This is probably the most difficult to find one of those. I've seen people buy this soundtrack here for like over $100. So this one too, like I said, the hardest one to find. This is the second N64 Goemon game's main theme that I believe was cut out of the English version. This was an old rental disc, which is why the condition is so weird. You can see where there used to be stickers. Somebody took them off. But yeah. This probably has my favorite music from the entire series. This or the first Super Famicom game. Let's take a look at these cards first. Get these things out of the way. Here's a Yu-Gi-Oh card, the Lady Ninja Yae. And here are some Kellogg's cards. Ganbare Goemon, Goemon, Yae, Ebisumaru, and Sasuke. And this was a weird promotion where you buy like cornflakes or Frosted Flakes or Cocoa Puffs, whatever. And yeah, you get video game cards from the main video game publishers, Capcom, Namco, Konami, and oh my god, somebody else, I think. I can't remember if there was another one, but yeah, so it was kind of a cool promotion. I have a whole bunch of these, and these are just some extras that I put in here. And if you look in the back, here you go, Tony Tiger, and King Combo, and then Choco-kun. So, yeah, there you go. That is what it is. And the last little card back here is not really much of a card at all. It's actually a calendar. So this is most likely some sort of promotional item to maybe you get in like a magazine or something. This is probably one that's weirdly one of the rarest Goemon items I own. It's an electric toothbrush. Yep. You could brush your teeth with Goemon every morning. I think there were like a series of Konami characters that you could use get like toothbrushes from. I'm not sure if this is something that a dentist office would give you. That would make the most sense. But here's the box for it. Let me just pull that out real quick. And so, yeah, you have Twin B, Goemon, Tokimeki Memorial, and Powerful Pro Baseball. This is Goemon. So, weird, stupid, but I like it. Inside of here, another set of pencils, different ones from the ones we saw earlier, but also Tombow. These are HB. And do I have anything interesting in here? No. But this is a, I think they're called melamine cups of Ganbare Goemon Karakuri Dochu. And there's a whole bunch of game series like this, like Twinbee, I know for sure. A lot of these Famicom era cups. Pretty cool. I could use that with my toothbrush to spit out my toothpaste. Let's see, let's look at these books here. So, here is a guide for Ganbare Goemon Gaiden 2, the RPG for the Famicom. Nothing special, but cool little artwork like that. Here's Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki, again, with some really kind of funky artwork. Another guide. That's one of my favorite Goemon images. Yeah, not a bad guide. Okay. Here's one. Oh, got some spine fading, but that's okay. Ganbare Goemon 2, Kiteretsu Shogun Maginis. Let's see, what's that? Oh, there's that artwork I was showing you earlier in that that Konami new game flyer. Alright, pretty standard guide. That's pretty cool. Inside of Impact. So a lot of these guides, you know, they obviously are going to tell you how to beat the game, all the secrets and all that, but they have really cool art, and a lot of it is not stuff that you'd find in the manual. Here's Goemon 3. Some standard artwork there, but let's see what we got inside. It's a pretty standard guide. I have most of the Ganbare Goemon game guides. There are a few that I'm missing, but they're pretty expensive now. The ones that I'm missing. A couple of cheap ones still. Ganbare Goemon 4 was Kira Kira Dochu, Boku Dansa Ninatta Ryu. So why I became a dancer. Oh, and I have a little... I forgot I had this in here. I've had this book for a while. A little bookmark. So, great artwork in this game, and I think this game's just a little bit too tough to really be something I'd recommend to people for their first time playing Goemon. I'd probably recommend Goemon 2 for Super Famicom, but it's still a great game. Here's Karakuri Dochu, which I love that Goemon right here with the skates, and I think this commercial or whatever it was that they made for Goemon is the reason why they had Impact. So he was kind of based on this design. So one of these old school Famicom with, there you go, some not so common artwork, not really established yet what Goemon was going to look like. This is that weird era where it was just kind of up in the air. Looks like it has some maps, and there you go. Not in the best shape, that's fine though. And here's a Ganbare Goemon 2 Famicom guide. A lot of the Famicom guides were these kind of small looks. Look at that great art. Look at that Goemon. That is great. And here's him touching the girl's butt. She seems to be enjoying it awkwardly. So yeah, I would have loved to have done a video on this game, but I believe there's an English translation patch. So people who are much more capable than me, I'm sure, have done better videos than I could ever make. So here is a compilation of the manga, Ganbare Goemon, Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki. Oh, I keep saying that word. And we'll take a look at the individual volumes too, but yeah, Goemon manga was super prolific in Japan. For most of the main series from the Super Famicom on, they had their own series in runs in Comic Bonbon. And yeah, this is just a kind of big updated anthology of that. Here are those Goemon things there. The manga for the first game. So, kind of cool looking color. Hey, it's that guy. We just saw him. So, yeah, I don't know. I've never spent the time to actually read all of these manga, so I don't know if they're any good or not. But I'm assuming they're pretty good if they ran for so long. I love this picture, by the way. And here's the second volume in Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki. Just kind of a fun art. A little bit different style from what you would see in the period and later on with Goemon, but it's kind of neat. I know there is a phone card for the manga series that I'm missing, and I would like to get that eventually, but yeah, there are some hardcore Goemon collectors I'm competing with whenever I find these. There you go, Super Goemon. Alright, Goemon 3 stuff. Goemon 3 manga. And these ones used to be, for some reason, for me hard to find, but now they're like the easiest ones. I don't have any Ganbare Goemon 2 manga, unfortunately. There's this cover. I love this cover with Yae in this kind of sexier ninja costume. There you go, future, or ancestor, not ancestor, but descendant. Alright, and here's the author, I'm sure, dressed up as Ebi Sumaru. What a good era to be into this kind of stuff. Everybody just seemed to be having so much fun until Konami threatened to throw you out of out of a car or kill your family. Wow, there he is. It's Sasuke now. Alright, so I'm just gonna go look through these things. This is the second volume in Kira Kira Dochu. So Ganbare Goemon 4. I don't have the full set of these. I think there are 3. Let's kind of flip through there. Let's see what is going on here. That is funky. That is pretty cool. Alright, wonderful. Here is the Uchu Kaizoku Akogingu. The first PlayStation Goemon had 1 single volume. And yeah, this is another game that I really should have done a video on a long time ago, but I just never got to it, and I think they're doing an English patch, so that's good, but it means I also don't really need to do a video on it. Here's Neo Momoyama Bakufu no Odori, or Legend of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, first N64 game. I think there's 3 volumes in this, I only have the first one. And some kind of just fun artwork. Here's Goemon Fever, or Ganbare Goemon International Version Fever. I have no idea what that's about. Like I said, I haven't sat down and actually read these things. Not exactly the the target age for these, but I guess I'm also not the target age for the old games either, but a little bit different, right? Look at that. And the last 4 here that I have are the reboot Goemon, so New Age Tsudo and Shinserai Shumei, and yeah, they actually tried to turn this into a thing. We'll look at a few of the other kind of products they made for it. Never really caught on as far as I can tell. There's the second volume. We'll just kind of look to see if there's any cool art. So different artists from the old school Goemon manga. Try to appeal to a younger crowd. It's got that kind of late 90s, early 2000s manga aesthetic. What, like, would you say, like Rave Master-ish? I don't know what I'm talking about. I was kind of out of the loop at that point. That was still fun over Akira and Record of Lotus War at that point. But anyways, yeah, that's my manga collection. We'll take a look at the last row and some other stuff. And here we have mostly books, but a few little surprises as well. First things first, another Tombow pencil set. These are color pencils, and judging by the artwork, most likely from the N64 era. It's a little tricky to open, so let me focus on that real quick. Hopefully it doesn't fly out everywhere. There you go. Well, almost. So yeah, just some standard color pencils. And some kid's name was here in the past. No longer there. These are some enamel pins that were released, I think, just last year from Fangamer, that website I was talking about earlier. And yeah, very nice. Very cute. Wish I had another set that would open up and put on something. Now these little bubbles here, real quick, this is just a random bubble. I've already grabbed a couple of these and passed them by. Jeez, this plastic is not going to open up. So these were the... oh, 1 second. Those little eraser figurines for the anime. Here's what they would look like if they had color. And boy, do I wish they had color. Very nice looking, right? That's that. And the other ones are just these scroll games and stickers. I think I have the whole set. There's 6 of them there. I did a pickups video last year, and I showed off one of them, but here's the kind of sticker you'd get. I don't know if it's focusing in very well, but there you go. And the game, well, here's the little packaging that it came with. So it does show 6 in there, so this is probably the whole set. And yeah, let's take a look. So it basically would be like one level of the Famicom game, and you'd open it up. Here's the instructions, and it's very long, so I'm just going to show a little bit, different items and enemies, and you choose a path. You want to go up or down, and depending on what you choose, as it is revealed, you have different options, different items, and you see how well you do. But yeah, kind of a neat concept, something for your kids back in the 80s, but nothing that I think kids would get into these days. Let me move this out of the way. So the first thing here on the right hand side is the DVD set of Legend of the Mystical Ninja. This is the Goemon anime. ADV Films localized it. What's funny is in Japan, you can't really find DVDs of this series. I don't know if they've made them. VHS is for sure, but a lot of Japanese sellers will sell this English North American release. Still sealed. One day maybe I'll watch it. And here are just a couple of random videos I had in the States. Oh, this one's still sealed. So volume 1 and 3. I really like the covers. They look nice on the covers, but I don't know, the actual animation itself doesn't look like it's something I'm that interested in. 2 VHS tapes. I'll grab this one first. As you can see, the spine is completely fried, and so is the cover a little bit. This was maybe a rental edition. I'm not sure, but this is the Ganbare Goemon OVA, so original video animation. It's very short. It has a lot of cool cameos. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube if you want to. And yeah, this must have been a rental. Look at that. It's called Jigenjou no Akumu, so the Nightmare of the Dimensional Castle. So you see all the little cameos in here, Castlevania, Twinbee, etc., etc. Pretty good. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I liked it. So that's one. Oh, and there's all my books falling down. Here's another VHS copy of that, and I think this one was one that you didn't buy or rent, but was something you could mail in for and receive from Konami as part of the 5th anniversary of Goemon. So it's pretty cool. This was in excellent shape, and let's open it up. No inserts or anything, but yeah, it looks like it's brand new. I wanted to do a video on this, but like I said, there's already people have already uploaded the whole thing to YouTube. I don't know if there's subtitles or not, but that might be something fun to work on. Alright, so all these little guides here. Let's just go from right to left. This is the DS game guide from 2005, I believe. Tokai Dochu. And beautiful artwork. And what a game. And unfortunately, this is the last thing we got. So, just a little guide. Look at that great artwork. Don't know what happened. Alright, here's the Ganbare Goemon 1 and 2 for Game Boy Advance. Sorry, it's a little hard to hold it out here at an awkward angle. But yeah, cool little port with some additional features for the first 2 Super Famicom games. Alright, next guide. The reboots. So the Game Boy Advance New Age Suro and Shinserai Shumei for the PlayStation. They just put them all together in one guide, even though they're 2 different games. Unfortunately, black and white, as you can see, they didn't really care enough. Here's Oedo Dai Kaiten, which I've done a video on, and I really like this game, even though it's kind of generic. And it's just literally recycled stuff from old games. But yeah, good guide. Nice and colorful. I like that. Kind of a hard to find guide these days. Here's the last Game Boy, I guess Game Boy Color, Seikushi Dynamite's Aru. I think I would like to do a video on this too. It kind of plays like Ganbare Goemon 2, and this is one of the rarer guides, but also the game itself is one of the few kind of expensive Ganbare Goemon games. That Game Boy Advance reboot is probably the most expensive now. Here's that PS2 game that we saw that plush for earlier. What is it? Bouken Jidai Katsugeki Goemon. And this is a game that I kind of hated at first. I mean, look at that. But I after replaying it a few years ago for that collection video that I did on Goemon stuff, I was actually really having fun with it. And I think it's actually not that bad. But not the best direction for Goemon, probably. Alright, see what we got here. Alright, Kurunada Koi, 2 guides. Also did a video on this, the black sheep of Goemon console games. Nice looking guides. I wish when I had the video, or did the video, I had these guides. But it would have made for some interesting art transitions. And well, it's done and I don't ever want to touch it again. Here's Dero Dero Dolchu, Obake Tenko Mori, Goemon's Great Adventure in the States. I think I have 2 guides for that too. Yeah, there you go. So this is probably the last great console classic style Goemon game. Sorry for the noise, it's just rubbing up against the shelf. Really awkward position. Sitting down here and doing this. Alright. Oh, that's that's not good. This is the N64, the first N64 game, and apparently I have a controller card for Ocarina of Time in here. I don't know why. But yeah, this is a game that probably most people played Goemon outside of Japan, and a wonderful way to start. Great music. Okay, let's move that. That's for later. Those are my shame. I'll talk about that later. There you go. Please don't fall down again. Alright, this is Uchu Kaizoku Akugin, the PlayStation 1's original Goemon game. And like I said, really good. Kind of sad that you can't play as Sasuke and Yae, but the new characters are just fine. Good impact battles. Overall, good game. Underrated title in the series, in my opinion. Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki. This kind of cool looking guide. I really like this. Was it Family Computer Magazine? Look at that. That's awesome. Some little manga in here. A really well designed guide. Great artwork. It's hard to see, so I can't get the whole thing in frame. But yeah, a good guide. Decent guide with like a lot of colors and cool artwork. And gotta love that. Alright, and here are some more manga. This is the Yonkoma manga Dochu, I guess. So, volume 1, but I don't think there was anything after this. And just little 4-panel gag comics by looks like various different artists. Maybe it's the same artist, who knows. Looks good. That's pretty hard to find, and so is this next thing. The manga Yonkoma Manga Kingdom, so more of those. This also says 1 on it, but I believe this is the only one they ever made. So just more gag comics, very simple. Look at that, look how realistic that looks. Stuff that kids would enjoy. Alright, this is a game book for Neo Momoyama Bakufu no Odori, the N64 game. And if I open it up, you can see it's obviously made for kids. Has some kind of interesting art. Has some comics, has some games. So yeah, just kind of an activity book and a manga book for kids to enjoy. To shut them up before iPads shut kids up. I'd take Goemon over iPad any day. Alright, and this is a character encyclopedia, the Kanzen character Daihakka. So all about Ganbare Goemon characters. And a little bit of manga too. So this is actually a pretty hard to find book as well. This is probably something you just buy at a grocery store, probably a bookstore in the kids section. Another thing to get your kids to shut up in the car. So cool little 3D models here. Nice book. Okay, here's another leisure seat. So I showed that one earlier with the white. This is a green one with characters from the Famicom original. Looks like Karakuri Dochu. Might be. Yeah, I think it's Karakuri Dochu. But this is from Daido. Daido is a drink company, so Club Daido. You probably just drink a bunch of stuff, get some points, and this is something you could get in the mail. I don't know what year this was made, but it wasn't the 80s for sure. Probably early 2000s, I guess. But yeah, go for a picnic with me. We use our Goemon things. Here are two tenuguis, I guess like bandana type wrapper things. I'll open up one. I have two because I thought about making one into something or using it as a placemat. The person I bought one of these from said that it was a promotional item that her grandparents' store received back in the day. So I'll just open this up and see what it looks like. Simple patterns. Sorry, I was not getting all of it. And yeah, I'm just throwing some coin. Pretty good. This is also something that was a promotional item from that shop. And this is the board game. Was it Sugoroku Mononoke or something like that? And this is a Noden, a kind of like a, what would you call it? Not a curtain, but like a Japanese style. Put this over your doorway. And so it was a promotional thing for the store with these cool little clay looking Goemon characters. There you go, Mononoke Sugoroku. Yeah, very cool. Very hard to find. So this over here that you saw earlier tumbling down is really my shame. This is not my shame though. This is these are fan comics, Dojinshi. This one is actually legit normal, even though it looks like it'd be something pervy. But this is the only one of the contents I'm actually allowed to show you here on YouTube. Very short, very sweet. And so the other ones, well, we've come this far. Let's go. Here's my collection of Goemon smut. So these are actually kind of getting hard to find. There you go. I don't know if I want to show the back. I did censor it out there. Over here. Yeah. So I couldn't help myself. It's all just, it's an interesting part of Goemon. There's not a lot of this stuff out there, and there are some that are made for girls and some made for boys. These ones are definitely made for the boys. They are what they are. You can judge me however you like, I wouldn't blame you. But just a neat part of the Goemon collection. The memorabilia history. And the last two things are legit kind of magazines you'd pick up from like a convenience store or wherever. These are Karakuri Dochu guides, and these are also very hard to find. They have these really funky depictions of Goemon and some comics. There's him touching more booty. Gotta love that. Yeah, just something you'd buy for a couple bucks at a newsstand. And yeah, I don't really know. I have one for like Getsufuma then in the same style. This was 320 yen. So back then probably about $5, but $3 now. And here's this other one, which I think this one is actually more hard to find. But yeah, not in the best shape, but these were things that probably a lot of people read or they gave their kids, and they got beat up, got used a lot. I don't mind that this is beat up because it shows that it was used, it was loved. I can only imagine the kids using this. I'm actually surprised this poster is still intact. So, and in the very back, you can make yourself a little creepy Goemon mask. Yeah. So, different era completely. Alright, let's move on and take a look at some odds and ends and some big stuff. And here are a few things that were just too big or just kind of didn't really fit into my display case. A couple of them I'm just going to have to show footage here, but of course the Ganbare Goemon metal game that was featured over in probably game centers and department stores all across the country back when it was new. I've already done a big video on this, and unfortunately right now it's in my closet. Anyways, check out the video if you haven't seen it. I think 5 people did. But I do open it up, look at the board, look at the gameplay, and etc, etc. And talk a little bit about what metal games are. Other things that I have that are pretty big is there is a Hapa coat that I have that was another promotional item that somebody from a game store once owned. It's pretty cool. And a t-shirt from Fangamer featuring the ghost lady and Goemon and Ibisumaru and I think a couple of yokai. So yeah, I'll just show footage of that here while we're talking. And then a couple of other things are game posters. These are posters that would have been in game stores. And so one of them's for, what is it, Neo Momoyama Bakufu no Odori, Legend of the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon, N64 game. Another one's Tokai Dochu, the DS game. And another one's for, I guess it would be New Age Shitsuro, might be Shin Serai Shume. But anyways, the Goemon reboots, and shout out to Ultra Healthy Video Game Nerd for pointing that out to me that was on Yahoo Auctions, or else I would have missed it. So appreciate it. A few other things that I have here, just to kind of go with more posters, and Fangamer. And this is just a small poster that was commissioned. It's an official Konami licensed good, but the artwork is something new that somebody made for Konami. A small poster, Impact, Goemon, Yae, Sasuke, Ibisumaru. Very nice, very thick kind of card stock. I actually kind of dig the way the characters look. A little bit different, kind of a more American style. But that's kind of cool. Here's another t-shirt. Just talking about t-shirts. This one's not Fangamer, but this one is... Oh, is it Glorious? Games Glorious? So, kind of a funky design here. Chivalrous robber story. And, yeah. Born in Nippon. Yeah, Games Glorious. This is size O. But this is still about a size XL in the States. And there you go. It's pretty cool. Not too many Goemon shirts out there. Let's grab this. Is another CD, but it's Konami Game Music Now, 1999. Just wanted to show this because it has this little impact on the cover. Gotta love that. A lot of great Konami franchises featured in this. Yeah, big fan of Konami. It's probably one of my most prized possessions. This is a Ganbare Goemon animation cell from the actual animation that I talked about earlier that I've never seen. It also has some other original sketches in there. It's hard to kind of focus in here. That's pretty cool. In addition to that cool looking one, I do have a few of these other ones that aren't quite as neat, but well, it's these are one-of-a-kind items, right? So here you go, Goemon and some frog, Goemon by himself, yeah, and some chick. Goemon, I'm assuming he's piloting Impact, sitting down or kicking his heels together. Impact. The one character that looks really weird in this show, in my opinion, is Impact. I wish they would have kept him. There you go. Kept him the way he looks in the games. Would have been easier to animate too. Some more Goemon. Goemon and that kid, who's the main character. Yeah, so some animation cells. This is a dummy artwork, something that a store would use to kind of display that there's a game out there. So a fake obi and a fake cover art or whatever for the game. Ouro Daikaiten. So something that is surprisingly a collector's item. There you go. This kind of shows it as a sample. And other than that, this was something that came with, I think, that Mahjong N64 game. But it's just a Konami advertisement. But this is when the N64 game was labeled Ganbare Goemon 5. Of course, Neo Momoyama Bakufu no Odori was the subtitle still. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. And there's that freaky looking Yai. I'm so glad they changed the way she looked for the final game, because she looks great. Not in that picture, but in the final. And some other Konami games. Here is a postcard featuring Impact and some of the Goemon characters. Ganbare Goemon 3. I'm not sure where this came from, but KonamiNet. And it was apparently part of a larger sheet of postcards, because it's you can see the little dots there ripped off. And then some N64 stickers, and I'm not sure where this came from, but you get some Goemon stickers. There's that old Yai look, but also a memory card sticker, which I thought was pretty cool. That Mahjong game, apparently it's Mahjong Master. Yeah. This is an MSX magazine, and the reason why I'm showing this is because the little supplemental material for this month was partially a guide. One was Hirotori and one was Ganbare Goemon Karakuri Dochu. And so, you can see this is Hirotori. There you go. All the Ganbare Goemon MSX, kind of a guide to that. Obviously not going to be a complete guide because these games are ridiculously long because they loop, but it does get you all the way for the first playthrough of the game, which is kind of neat. So it's always cool to have stuff like that. And we looked at the Ganbare Goemon manga earlier, and I talked about this in my Adventure of Little Ralph demo video, but there you go, Ganbare Goemon Hero Hero Kun. But yeah, in this magazine had a bit of a preview. Let's see if I can actually find it somewhere in the beginning. There you go. Preview for Goemon N64 with some funky 3D renders of Impact and Kabuki's robot. This guy in a Goemon mask, which, man, I wish I had that getup. I could scare the neighbors. And of course, manga. Well, there's a cool looking Goe Goemon advertisement. And yeah, here's the manga. Uchu Kaizoku Yakuringu. So the PlayStation game, the manga was still in circulation. Oh look, Papa looking pretty good. So here is a large Soratobu Goemon Parakeet from Sun Mayor. And so just like that little speaking figurine that I had earlier, this is just kind of like a non-Konami kind of knockoff Goemon merchandise that was popular in the era. And this is something that you would just throw out and watch it paraglide. So here's the parachute, here's the string and all that stuff, and here's the Goemon. So it's very similar to that one that we looked at earlier It's probably the same maker. But yeah, not an official Goemon product, but part of the Ganbare Goemon wave of that era. So it's pretty cool. And I guess you could probably put water in here. I'm not sure. But yeah, pretty neat. I love stuff like this, by the way. Bootlegs and rip-offs. Here is a open card pack for those Ganbare Goemon anime trading cards. And here... Oops, let me grab it. Here's a binder of card stuff, and I think the first one, there you go. So here's some of the Ganbare Goemon cards that I have in my collection that I, picked up loose over the years, or in those loose packs. And as you can see, they're kind of generic, but they have these sticker cards, and they have like prism cards. So some kind of neat things in there. You could put the stickers. Somebody put the stickers on Omitsu, funny like. And these are those Kellogg's cards I was talking about. So Capcom characters, you got Trombone over there in the middle. You got Biohazard, Resident Evil characters, Street Fighter, Powerful Pro, there's the Goemon stuff again, Tokimeki Memorial, Namco, Mr. Driller. So yeah, just kind of a whole bunch of neat stuff. From Kellogg's, of all places. And then the final thing is... I think this is the final thing. The final thing that I could find that I had. Sorry it's taking so long. I have to pull it out of this binder. Should have prepped better. After all this other preparation. Here's a Konami PlayStation 96 Spring lineup. Another free kind of pamphlet you'd pick up at a store. And obviously they talk about a lot of games in here. Some of my favorites like Genso Suikoden. There's some Twin Beasts, some Parodius Deluxe Pack, that's great. Vandal Hearts, but featured heavily here is Ganbare Goemon, Uchu Kaizoku Akugingu, and a really cool looking metallic impact. So yeah, that is that's it. And actually, that's not it. I lied. There are a few things that I forgot about, and a couple things I was on the fence about showing, but I figured I'd just show them anyway. First off are some more toys from Takara that are tie-ins with the Goemon series. So there's 7 of these total. These are based on the Shinserai Shumei and New Age Tsudo line, the reboots. So number 1, here's Goemon in the Dual World Collection, whatever that means. You can see the build quality, not so great, but these were made for children after all. Looks like it'd be pretty fun to open up and play with, but I'm an old man. Number 2, Ebisu, Goemon's partner in this game. And just a kind of first glance, let's look at the back here. But looks cute enough, but if you look up close, she's got this droopy eye. I don't know what they were thinking. So she's got sloth syndrome. That's unfortunate. Next is Sasuke, number 3. Sasuke looks okay. This is a futuristic looking Sasuke. I think it's like Mark III or something in the game. Yeah, right. So out of the human characters, he's probably the nicest looking one. Next up is an enemy character. This is Hanzo. I believe he's the first boss encounter. You fight him on the top of like Neo Tokyo Tower or something. Actually, not such a bad looking figure. If I was a kid, I'd be pretty excited getting these toys. Alright, that's another one. Now we're going to the bigger characters. So this is Kiyohime. This is, I believe, the final boss of the game. And not a bad looking character, I guess. No face though. Alright. Probably one of the cooler ones in this line. Goemon Impact. Obviously I prefer the original Impact design, but this kind of more 2000s younger kid demographic friendly Gundam-like robot, I guess, is pretty cool too. And then the last thing in this line, number 7, this is Hyde Impact, and I think this is Hanzo's Impact, or robot character, whatever. And it looks just like him, so it must be. This is probably the first Impact battle in the game as well. So, yeah, not so bad. Other things I have here. Here's this came with like a Famitsu Brothers magazine. It says a bunch of postcards. So actually a lot of cool postcards in this, actually. But the one I'm looking for is Goemon 3 over here. That's pretty nice. So, if I had a ton of these, I'd just send them out to random people. But, yeah, it's a pretty cool... What an era. What a gaming era. Alright. Here is a pretty rare calendar, Konami 1997. I bought this along with that demo I did a video on recently. And yeah, I got this from the same person, and yeah, this was something that was given to stores back in '97 to kind of promote Konami things. I don't know if they displayed it at the store or if they gave it to customers, but what we're looking for here, I think, is, look at that. That's one of the greatest games of all time. Is it 5? We're looking for that? No, it's Puro Wars. There you go, Goemon. He's Mr. June. So, little desktop calendar, a lot of Tokimeki Memorial. Such a big series back then. Metal Gear, Twin Bee, more Tokimeki, and more Metal Gear, more Tokimeki, man. That was a cultural phenomenon. So, kind of cool calendar. I actually have 2 of those, so one of them will remain sealed forever. Here's the Konami All-Stars, the Senryo Baku Heisei Yonenban. So this is, I think, the 4th in this series of like the Senryo Baku, or the 1000 Ryo coin box, I guess, or whatever it would be called. I just thought it was kind of cool because it has this cover with this really funky looking Goemon on it. I can just open it up real quick, but cool package design. This is man, Konami at their best. So the Kukeha Club comes with a little mini calendar. I don't know if there's a Goemon in it or not, but this has the soundtrack, I believe, just for Mr. Goemon for the arcade. Some game sound history. I just kind of want to show this Goemon here, and more Goemon on covers of things. These are in kind of bad condition. I need to upgrade, but the Konami YY World games. There's Goemon there on the cover. Kind of funky looking. I kind of like it, and I'm a big fan of this game here, YY World 2. And there's Goemon right there, a little bit closer to what his real character would look like. Highly recommend those games. Here's an English version of a game, Konami Crazy Racers. And yeah, I got this a few years ago in Portland Retro Gaming Expo. What a good time. One of the very few things I actually bought at that expo. But cool game for Game Boy Advance. Doesn't get talked about enough in my opinion. And I think it's called Konami YY Racing in Japan. And the last thing here is, he's been featured in other Parodius games, but he's on the cover of the MSX Parodius. Not Parodius Da, but just Parodius. And there he is, sleeping under his, what would you call that? I can't even think of what those tables are called. Kotatsu? It's been such a long time since I used it. I don't own one. I haven't owned one for like over 10 years. So, yeah. There you go. That's it. Unless I'm a liar. And that's more or less my entire Ganbare Goemon collection. It's not the biggest or best in the world, but I'm pretty happy with it and look forward to adding on to it in the future. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested in seeing more Goemon, check out the Ganbare Goemon playlist here at Import Gaming for the win. And if you want to see more of my collection, let me know. I'm Jimmy Hapa. Take care.